The message arrived on a Tuesday morning, Earth Standard Time. It traveled through quantum channels that humanity had only begun to understand 3 months ago, when the first alien ship appeared at the edge of the solar system. The Galactic Council chambers floated in neutral space, a massive station built by civilizations far older than humanity. Inside the Great Hall, representatives from 40 different species watched as the Vrex High Commander delivered his ultimatum. His species stood tall, nearly 8 feet, with gray skin that looked like polished stone. Their empire controlled 47 star systems. They had been expanding for 400 years. The human species will surrender control of their star system within 30 standard days, the High Commander announced, his voice translated into every language through neural implants. They will relocate to the preserve worlds we have designated. They will submit to Vrex authority. This is not a negotiation. This is how we maintain order in the galaxy. Ambassador Tevrin watched from the observer section. His species, the Quill, had been part of the Council for 2,000 years. They had seen this happen before. The Vrex found a new species. They made demands. The new species either complied or got crushed. 12 species had already joined the Vrex Confederation this way. Some went quietly. Some fought brief, hopeless wars. Have the humans responded? Asked Council Speaker Morn, an elderly being whose species valued diplomacy above all else. No, the High Commander said. They received our message 18 days ago. They have sent nothing back. No acceptance. No defiance, nothing. Tevrin felt his spine ridge tingle. That was unusual. Most species responded immediately. They begged, they negotiated, they threatened, or they surrendered. But silence? That was new. Perhaps they need more time to understand, Speaker Morn suggested. They are newly contacted. Their translation systems might be inadequate. The High Commander made a dismissive gesture with his forearms. They understand. Their technology is sufficient. We have monitored their communications. They received our terms. They know what we demand. Another observer, a crystalline being named Shard, chimed in. The humans are strange. They developed faster-than-light travel without Council guidance. Their method is unusual, crude but effective. Tevrin had studied the human first contact files. When humanity revealed itself to the galaxy, they did so carefully. One ship, one message. They shared some technology, but not all. They answered some questions, but not others. They were polite but distant. Their weapons are also unusual, Shard continued. They use kinetic projectiles instead of plasma. They accelerate metal to extreme speeds. It seems primitive. The High Commander laughed. Primitive indeed. Our shields will stop their bullets easily. Our plasma cannons will cut through their ships like they are made of paper. Tevrin accessed the human database that had been shared with the Council. He scrolled through information about Earth, their homeworld. 1 planet, 4 colony worlds, all barely established. Perhaps 200 ships in their entire fleet. Against the Vrex armada of 800 warships, they had no chance. But something bothered him. He opened the human entertainment files. Humans shared these freely, saying they wanted other species to understand their culture. Tevrin watched snippets of their movies, their historical records, their stories. War. So much war. Humans had been fighting each other for their entire recorded history. 10,000 years of continuous conflict. They had weapons that could destroy their own planet. They had nearly wiped themselves out several times. They had only achieved peace among themselves in the last century, and even that seemed fragile. High Commander, Tevrin spoke up. I recommend caution. The humans may be more dangerous than they appear. The entire chamber turned to look at him. The High Commander's eyes narrowed. You think 200 primitive ships can challenge the Vrex Confederation? I think a species that talks this much about war usually knows how to wage it, Tevrin replied. The High Commander dismissed this with a wave. They are silent because they are afraid. Fear paralyzes. We have seen it before. The Kelth species went silent too just before they surrendered. The humans will be the same. The Council session ended. The countdown continued. 30 days for humanity to respond. 30 days to pack up their civilization and submit. Tevrin returned to his observation post and continued studying. He watched more human media. He read their military history. He analyzed their ship designs. Something was wrong. Something didn't fit. 2 weeks passed, then 3. Still no response from humanity. Not a single word. The Vrex began moving their fleets into position. 800 warships gathered at the jump points leading to human space. They would invade on day 31 if no surrender came. Tevrin noticed something else. Human civilian traffic had stopped. No merchant ships. No exploration vessels. No communication with the few alien traders who had visited human space. Complete silence. The Virex commanders celebrated. They interpreted the quiet as submission, but Tevrin remembered something from the human military files he had read. A quote from one of their ancient strategists: "All warfare is based on deception." The humans had not sent a single reply. Day 15 arrived with no change. The Vrex fleet grew larger at the staging area, a massive collection of warships positioned at the edge of human space. They waited like predators outside a burrow, confident their prey had nowhere to run. Ambassador Tevrin stood in his observation vessel, surrounded by monitoring equipment. His team had been tracking human space for 2 weeks now. The sensor readings troubled him deeply. Still nothing? His assistant, a young quill named Rix, asked. "Nothing," Tevrin confirmed. "No broadcasts. No ship movements. No communications of any kind. The Vrex say this is normal. They say species become paralyzed when faced with overwhelming force." Tevrin's spine ridges flattened, a sign of disagreement. "I have reviewed the Vrex conquest files. Even the species that surrendered, they still communicated. They sent messages. They tried to negotiate. They pleaded. But the humans? Perfect silence." He pulled up a star map showing human territory. 4 colony worlds orbited nearby stars. Earth, their homeworld, sat in the center. All of them had gone dark. Not destroyed, just quiet. Ships that should have been moving between worlds had vanished from sensors. Where are their civilian ships? Tevrin wondered aloud. Rix checked the data. Unknown. 2 weeks ago, we tracked 147 human civilian vessels. Now we detect 0. They did not leave human space. Our sensors would have caught them. So where did they go? The Vrex High Commander had a different interpretation. He broadcast his confidence to the entire fleet. The humans have pulled back to their homeworld. They huddle together in fear. When we arrive, they will surrender immediately. This will be the easiest conquest in Vrex history. But Tevrin could not shake his unease. He spent his nights reviewing human cultural files. Their entertainment was violent. Their sports were violent. Even their children's stories involved conflict and struggle. They were a species that had climbed to the top of their planet's food chain and stayed there for 200,000 years. He found a human documentary about their ancient history. It showed how early humans hunted prey animals. They did not chase like predators with claws and teeth. Instead, they followed. They tracked. They waited. They exhausted their prey over hours or days, then struck when the target was too tired to fight back. Persistence predators, the documentary called them. Rix pulled up the military doctrine files the humans shared with the Council. His assistant brought up the documents. They were basic tactical manuals, the kind any species might share during first contact. Nothing secret, nothing revealing, except for one line that Tevrin had overlooked before. In conflict, choose the time and place of engagement. Never allow the enemy to dictate terms. His spine ridges stood up straight. That was not the philosophy of a species that surrendered easily. Day 20 arrived. The Vrex fleet completed its assembly. 800 warships, all armed with the latest plasma weapons and shielding technology. They ran combat drills. They practiced planetary bombardment patterns. They prepared for an enemy that showed no signs of preparing for them. Tevrin called an emergency meeting with Council observers. "Something is wrong. I formally request that the Council intervene." The other observers looked at him with confusion. "Intervene how?" asked a representative from the Crystalline Assembly. "Stop the Vrex invasion. Give humanity more time, at least until we understand why they are silent." "The Vrex have filed all proper documentation," another observer replied. "Their conquest is legal under Council Charter. New species must submit to established authority or face consequences. This is how we maintain galactic order. But what if humanity is not paralyzed? What if they are planning something?" "Planning what?" "They have 200 ships against 800. They have no allies. They have no advanced weapons. What could they possibly do?" Tevrin had no answer. Only a feeling. A terrible growing certainty that everyone was missing something important. Day 25 came. Tevrin barely slept. He ran sensor sweeps of the surrounding space, pushing his equipment to maximum range, and then he found it. Faint quantum signatures at the very edge of detection. Barely there. Ghosts in the data. He ran the signatures through pattern analysis. The computer worked for hours. When it finished, Tevrin's blood ran cold. The signatures had been there for weeks. Moving through Vrex territory. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. Rix, what type of signature is this? His assistant examined the data. It matches the quantum displacement from human FTL drives. But these readings are heavily dampened. Like someone is trying to hide them. Can you track where they went? Tracking now. Commander, these signatures moved deep into Vrex space. Some went toward their homeworld. Others spread throughout their territory. Tevrin immediately sent an emergency message to the Vrex High Command. Human vessels detected in your territory. Possible stealth technology. Recommend defensive measures. The reply came back within an hour. Sensors show no human ships in Vrex space. Your equipment is malfunctioning. Human technology is too primitive for stealth systems. Focus on observation duties, but Tevrin knew what he saw. He pulled up more human files, this time their military history from their own world. He read about submarine warfare, about stealth aircraft, about special forces operations. Humans had spent centuries perfecting the art of moving unseen. They weren't hiding on their homeworld. They weren't paralyzed with fear. They were clearing the field. Day 30 arrived like a storm that everyone could see coming, but no one could stop. The Vrex invasion fleet hung in space. 800 warships arranged in perfect formation. Each ship gleamed with fresh paint and new weapons. The High Commander stood on his flagship bridge, surrounded by officers who believed victory was certain. Tevrin watched from his observation post, his spine ridges flat against his back in distress. His team had tracked more quantum signatures overnight. The pattern was clear now. Human ships had been moving through Vrex space for at least 3 weeks. Not just a few ships. Many ships. They had spread throughout Vrex territory like seeds scattered by the wind. Final sensor sweep before the invasion. Rix announced, running full spectrum analysis. The computers worked through massive amounts of data. Then they found something that made Tevrin's heart race. The quantum signatures were not moving anymore. They had stopped. They were holding position. Where are they? Tevrin demanded. Rix brought up a tactical map. Red dots appeared throughout Vrex space. Near shipyards, near communication hubs, near supply depots, near the homeworld itself. By the ancestors, Tevrin whispered. They are already in position. He immediately opened a priority channel to the Vrex High Command. This is Ambassador Tevrin. Emergency alert. Human forces are already deployed in your territory. Hundreds of contacts.
You must delay the invasion.
You must defend your homeworld. The response took longer this time. When it came, the voice was irritated. Ambassador, we have detected nothing. Our sensors are far superior to yours. If human ships were in our territory, we would know. They are trying to deceive you with false signals. Ignore them. High Commander, please listen. I have been studying human military doctrine. They do not fight defensively. They do not wait to be attacked. Their entire strategic philosophy is based on striking first. With what? The High Commander replied. 200 primitive ships? Even if your ghost signals are real, 200 ships cannot threaten the Vrex Confederation. We have 800 ships here, and thousands more throughout our territory. You are seeing shadows and imagining monsters. The channel closed. Tevrin stood in silence, knowing something terrible was about to happen but unable to stop it. He turned to his computer and pulled up every file the humans had shared about their military history. He read about Pearl Harbor, about Barbarossa, about the Six-Day War. He read about Blitzkrieg and shock and awe. Every major human conflict started the same way. One side struck hard, struck fast, and struck where the enemy was weakest. Rix, how many human ships have we actually seen? Verified visual contacts? His assistant checked the database. 47 ships, Commander. All during first contact and early diplomatic meetings. And we assumed they had 200 total because they told us they did. It was in their initial information packet to the Council. Tevrin felt his spine ridges begin to tremble. What if they lied? What if they have been hiding their true fleet size? Why would they do that? Because Sun Tzu, one of their ancient military philosophers, wrote, "Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak." What if humanity has been preparing for conflict since the moment they made first contact? Before Rix could answer, alarms screamed throughout the observation post. Emergency broadcasts flooded every channel. The voice of a Vrex planetary controller came through, distorted by static and panic. Vrex homeworld under attack. Multiple human vessels. They came from inside the system. Repeat, they appeared inside the defensive perimeter. Shields down. Communication array offline. Shipyard stations non-responsive. How did they get past the early warning grid? The High Commander's voice cut through the chaos. Impossible. Our fleet is here. The humans are trapped in their own space. This must be a technical malfunction. But more reports came flooding in. Vrex colony worlds under attack. Industrial systems reporting human ships. Supply lines being cut. Everywhere the same pattern. Human forces appeared without warning, struck critical infrastructure and vanished before defenses could respond. Tevrin pulled up a tactical display of Vrex space. Red markers appeared across the map like a disease spreading. 30 systems. 30 simultaneous attacks, all happening at once. They were never on the defensive, he said quietly. The silence was not fear. It was operational security. They spent 30 days moving into position while we watched their empty homeworld and congratulated ourselves. The High Commander's channel reopened. His voice had lost its confidence. All fleet units return to Vrex space immediately. Defend the homeworld. Defend the colonies. But Tevrin saw what would happen next. He ran trajectory calculations. Commander, if the fleet turns back now, they will have to use the established jump points. The same jump points the humans know about. What are you suggesting? I am suggesting the humans have been reading human military history too. They know that a retreating army is vulnerable. They know where your fleet will go. As if on cue, the first Vrex ships that attempted to jump back to their territory reported contacts. Human ships at the jump points. Not warships, but autonomous weapons platforms. Mines, drones, missiles moving at relativistic speeds. The Vrex fleet was trapped. Not by superior numbers, but by superior planning. Humanity had turned the hunters into the hunted. How many ships do they really have? The High Commander asked, his voice barely a whisper. Tevrin looked at the tactical display. New contacts kept appearing, hundreds, maybe thousands. I think we are about to find out. On Earth, the silence finally broke. A single message transmitted to the Galactic Council. It contained just 3 words in perfect galactic standard. Negotiations are concluded. The humans had spent 30 days in silence, moving their pieces into place. Now the board was theirs. The Vrex homeworld burned. Not with fire, but with precision. Human ships had emerged from faster-than-light travel inside the star system, bypassing every early warning sensor and defensive station. They appeared like ghosts, hundreds of vessels that had somehow crossed light years without being detected until the final moment. Tevrin watched the tactical displays with growing horror. The numbers kept changing. Not 200 human ships. Not even 500. The computer counted contacts and then recounted as more appeared. 1,000. 1,500. 2,000. The tally kept rising. Where did they all come from? Rix asked, his voice shaking. They were hiding them, Tevrin replied. During first contact, they showed us a small fleet. We assumed that was everything. We never considered they might have shipyards we never saw. Facilities we never detected. They let us think they were weak. The Vrex defense fleet tried to respond, but human tactics tore through their formations like a blade through water. The Vrex relied on powerful shields and plasma weapons, technology that had dominated galactic warfare for centuries. But humans had built their entire military around different principles. Kinetic weapons, mass drivers, railguns that accelerated projectiles to incredible speeds. The Vrex shields could stop energy weapons easily, but they struggled against solid matter moving at relativistic velocities. Human ships fired metal slugs that punched through shields like they were made of air. Worse, the humans used swarming tactics. For every large warship, they had dozens of smaller craft, drones that operated without pilots, controlled by artificial intelligence that made decisions faster than biological minds could process. The drones surrounded Vrex vessels, overwhelming their defenses through sheer numbers. This is not warfare, a Vrex commander broadcast. This is butchery. They fight without honor. But honor meant nothing when your communication systems went dark. The humans had launched cyber attacks alongside their physical assault. Viruses designed specifically for Vrex computer systems spread through their networks, shutting down coordination between ships, disrupting targeting systems, filling channels with false information. The Vreks had superior technology in many ways. Their individual ships were more powerful. Their weapons had longer range. But humans fought like they were trying to kill a philosophy, not just win a battle. Tevrin accessed the human military doctrine files again. He found a document labeled Shock and Awe. He read it carefully. The strategy was simple. Hit the enemy so hard, so fast, from so many directions that they cannot respond effectively. Destroy their ability to fight back before they realize the fight has started. That was exactly what was happening. Across 30 Vrek systems, human forces struck at the same moment. Not random attacks, carefully chosen targets, shipyards where new vessels were built, communication hubs that coordinated the empire, supply depots that kept the military functioning, orbital defense platforms, sensor arrays. The humans were not trying to conquer territory. They were dismantling the Vrek's war machine piece by piece. New contacts, Rix announced. The Vrek's invasion fleet is trying to return home. They are engaging human forces at Jump Point Delta 7. Tevrin pulled up that sector. The 800 Vrek's warships had attempted to retreat back to their territory, but human forces waited for them. The jump point had been mined with autonomous weapons. As each Vrek ship emerged from faster-than-light travel, it ran straight into a wall of explosives and railgun fire. The Vrek's High Commander broadcast on all channels, requesting immediate council intervention. The human attack violates all protocols of civilized warfare. They must be stopped. Council Speaker Morn appeared on the communication channel, his ancient face grave. The Council cannot intervene in an active conflict between two species. This is your war, High Commander. You started it. We issued a legal ultimatum according to Council Charter. And they replied. Tevrin said quietly, just not with words. The battle raged for 48 hours. Human ships struck and vanished, using hit-and-run tactics that prevented the Vreks from mounting an effective counterattack. When Vrek's forces concentrated to defend one location, humans struck somewhere else. When the Vreks split their forces to cover more ground, humans destroyed them in detail. Tevrin studied the human fleet movements and recognized patterns from Earth's own history. Naval warfare, air superiority campaigns, combined arms operations. Humanity had spent 10,000 years fighting itself, learning every possible way to wage war. Now they used all that knowledge against an enemy that had only fought weaker opponents. The Vrek's Confederation controlled 47 star systems. Within 2 days of fighting, 30 of those systems had their military infrastructure damaged or destroyed. Shipyards lay in ruins. Communication networks were scrambled. Orbital defenses were offline. Thousands of Vrek's military personnel were dead, and the humans had barely suffered any losses. Their ships were fast, their tactics were unpredictable, and they refused to fight on Vrek's terms. They are not fighting to win, Tevrin told the Council observers who gathered to watch. They are fighting to ensure the Vreks can never threaten them again. A crystalline observer asked the question everyone was thinking. How do we stop them? We do not, Tevrin replied. The Vreks stop them by surrendering. Otherwise, humanity will reduce the Confederation to ash and memory. More reports flooded in. Vrek's colony worlds were being evacuated under human supervision, not destroyed but occupied. Human forces landed on planets and secured government buildings, communication centers, and military bases. They did not harm civilians, but they made it clear that Vrek's authority was over. The High Commander broadcast one final message. I request a ceasefire. I request negotiations, please, enough. The human response came 12 hours later. A single word, acknowledged, the shooting stopped. Human forces held their positions but did not advance further. They waited. In 72 hours, humanity had done what no species had accomplished in 400 years. They had broken the Vrek's Confederation, not through superior technology, but through superior strategy, superior planning, and a level of organized violence that shocked the entire galaxy. The humans had been silent for 30 days. Now everyone understood why. They were not preparing a defense. They were waging total war. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Every species sent their highest representatives. The chamber that had witnessed the Vrek's ultimatum 33 days ago now held a very different gathering. The Vrek's High Commander stood in the defendant's position, his forearms hanging limp, his proud bearing gone. Humanity sent their first diplomatic representative since the war began. Ambassador Elizabeth Chen walked into the chamber wearing a simple black suit. She was shorter than most species present, unremarkable in appearance, but when she took her position, every eye in the chamber fixed on her. Council Speaker Morn opened the session. Ambassador Chen, the Galactic Council recognizes humanity's military victory over the Vrex Confederation. We are here to discuss terms of peace and prevent further bloodshed. Chen nodded politely. Thank you, Speaker Morn. Before we begin, I want to apologize for our delayed response to the Vrex ultimatum. We wanted to ensure our message was perfectly clear. Tevrin watched Chen carefully. Her voice was calm, her expression friendly. She could have been discussing trade agreements instead of the complete dismantling of a galactic power. That made her more terrifying than any Vrex warrior. The Vrex Confederation formally surrenders, the High Commander said, his voice heavy with defeat. We accept whatever terms humanity demands. We only ask for mercy for our civilian population. Your civilians have not been harmed, Chen replied. Human forces have strict rules of engagement. We do not wage war against non-combatants. We are not monsters. You destroyed 30 systems in 3 days, another council member said. You killed thousands. We destroyed military infrastructure. We neutralized strategic assets. We eliminated the Vrex ability to threaten us or anyone else. Those are legitimate military targets. And yes, people died. That is what happens when you start a war. Chen's voice remained calm, but her words cut like a blade. We did not start this conflict. We tried to avoid it. We stayed silent because we hoped the Vrex would reconsider. They did not. She activated a holographic display. These are humanity's terms. First, the Vrex Confederation will immediately grant independence to all species they have conquered in the last 400 years. Those 12 species will be free to govern themselves. The High Commander's eyes widened. That will break the Confederation apart. That is the point, Chen replied. Second, the Vrex will pay reparations to those species. You will help rebuild what you forced them to abandon. Third, the Vrex military will be reduced to a defensive force only. No more conquest. No more expansion. No more threatening new species. And fourth, Speaker Morn asked, fourth, there will be trials. Vrex commanders who ordered attacks on civilian populations, who committed atrocities against conquered species, who violated what few rules of war exist in this galaxy. They will face justice, the chamber erupted in discussion. Some species protested that the terms were too harsh. Others argued they were not harsh enough. Tevrin remained silent, watching Chen's face. She showed no emotion, no satisfaction, no anger. She simply waited for the noise to die down. I have a question, Tevrin said when he could be heard. Why did you strike so hard? You could have defended your own territory and forced a stalemate. Instead, you invaded Vrex space and crushed them completely. Why? Chen turned to face him. For the first time, something like warmth entered her expression. Ambassador Tevrin, I have read your reports. You were the only one who tried to warn everyone. You studied our history. You tried to understand us, so you should know the answer. She pulled up images from human history. Ancient wars, medieval battles, world wars, nuclear standoffs. Humanity has spent its entire existence fighting. We have nearly destroyed ourselves a dozen times. We have learned lessons written in blood and ash. And the most important lesson is this. If someone tells you they plan to destroy you, believe them. And make certain they never get the chance. We monitored galactic communications for years before revealing ourselves, Chen continued. We watched the Vrex conquer other species. We saw how they operated. We knew that when we made first contact, they would eventually come for us. So we prepared. You prepared for 3 years? The High Commander asked. How? We built ships. We designed weapons. We trained soldiers. We created strategies. We did everything we could to ensure that if war came, we would win it decisively. Chen's voice hardened slightly. You saw 47 ships during first contact because that is what we wanted you to see. You thought we were weak because that is what we wanted you to think. We gave you bad intelligence because we assumed you would use it against us. That is deception, a council member protested. That is not civilized behavior. Civilized behavior is not threatening to destroy a species you just met, Chen shot back. Civilized behavior is not forcing people from their homes because you want their planet. The Vrex started this war the moment they sent that ultimatum. We just finished it, Tevrin spoke again. What happens now? Do you plan to become the new dominant power? Will humanity start making ultimatums to other species? Chen shook her head. No, we want to trade. We want to learn. We want to exist peacefully. But we will not be pushed around. We will not be threatened. We will not be conquered. Make no mistake. If another species tries what the Vrex attempted, we will respond the same way. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of representatives from dozens of species. We come in peace. We are prepared for war. The choice of which you meet was always yours. The Council voted on humanity's terms. They passed unanimously. The Vrex Confederation would be dismantled. The conquered species would be freed. The galaxy's political structure would change forever. As the session ended, Tevrin approached Chen. May I ask one more question? Of course, Ambassador. The silence. The 30 days without a response. Was that part of your strategy? Chen smiled slightly. We needed time to move our forces into position. We needed the Vrex to feel confident, to gather their fleet in one place, to leave their territory vulnerable. We needed them to think we were paralyzed with fear. And yes, we needed them to wait while we prepared. So we said nothing. Silence is just another form of communication, Ambassador. We were speaking. The galaxy just did not understand the language. Tevrin's spine ridges trembled. What language is that? The language humanity speaks best, Chen replied. The language of calculated, overwhelming, unstoppable force applied with surgical precision. We were not silent because we had nothing to say. We were silent because we were already saying everything we needed to say through our actions. She nodded politely and walked away, leaving Tevrin standing in the chamber. He looked at the empty seat where the Vrex High Commander had stood, now vacant. The galaxy had waited for humanity's reply. They just had not understood that the quiet meant it was already too late. The Empire ordered Earth to submit. Humanity answered with fire. Part 1. The alarm blared through the USS Defiance Command Center. Captain Noah Bennett rushed to his post, his heart racing. After 20 years in Earth's Space Force, he knew trouble when he saw it. Report, he ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos. Lieutenant Sofia Rodriguez looked up from her screen, her face pale. Sir, we've detected multiple objects entering the solar system. They're massive and moving fast. How many? Asked Noah. 57, sir. And they're not responding to any of our signals. Admiral Frank Caldwell's face appeared on the main screen. His usual confident expression was replaced with concern. Captain Bennett, are you seeing this? Yes, sir. We're tracking them now. This is beyond anything we've prepared for, said the Admiral. I'm calling an emergency meeting of Earth's Defense Council. Get back to Lunar Base immediately. 3 hours later, Noah stood in the council chamber alongside military leaders from every nation on Earth. Dr. Olivia Martinez, the leading xenobiologist, displayed images of the approaching fleet on the main screen. The ships are unlike anything in our records, she explained. Their technology is far beyond ours. Based on their formation and design, they appear to be a military force. The room fell silent as the reality sank in. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and their first visitors had come with an army. How long until they reach Earth? Asked the Chinese general. At their current speed, 3 days, replied Olivia. The Russian commander slammed his fist on the table. We must prepare for war. With what? The Indian admiral countered. Our most advanced weapons would be like throwing rocks at a tank. Noah cleared his throat. Admiral Caldwell, I request permission to take the Defiant to meet them before they reach Earth. If they're here for peaceful contact, we should greet them properly. If not, we need to know what we're facing. The admiral nodded. Permission granted, but take no chances, Captain. Your ship is the most advanced we have. We can't afford to lose it. 24 hours later, the USS Defiant floated in space, waiting. Noah stared at the view screen as the alien fleet approached. They were beautiful in a terrifying way. Massive ships that gleamed like black diamonds against the stars. They're slowing down, reported Sophia. One vessel is breaking formation and heading toward us. Weapons status? Asked Noah. Ready, sir, but I doubt they'll make much difference. The alien ship stopped half a kilometer from the Defiant. It was enormous, at least 20 times the size of the human vessel. They're scanning us, said Sophia. Our systems are being accessed. Before Noah could respond, the view screen changed. A figure appeared, tall and reptilian with purple scales and 4 yellow eyes. When it spoke, the ship's computer translated, "I am Ambassador Zarketh of the Varaxian Empire. Your primitive vessel has been scanned and presents no threat. Prepare to receive boarding party." Noah straightened his uniform. "This is Captain Noah Bennett of Earth's Defense Force. We welcome peaceful contact, but we don't accept uninvited boarding parties." The alien made a sound like grinding metal. The computer translated it as laughter. "You misunderstand, human. This is not a request. The Varaxian Empire rules 300 star systems. We have come to add Earth to our collection." Noah felt cold sweat on his back but kept his face neutral. "Earth is a sovereign planet. We're open to diplomatic relations but not subjugation." Ambassador Zarketh tilted his head. "Interesting. Most species recognize reality faster. Your defiance, while admirable, is pointless. We have studied your world for decades. Your technology is primitive. Your militaries are divided. You have no defense against our weapons." "Then why talk at all?" asked Noah. "Why not just attack?" "Resources," replied the ambassador. "Worlds that submit peacefully retain certain privileges. Worlds that resist are made examples of. The choice is simple. And if we refuse, then your cities will burn, your oceans will boil, and the survivors will envy the dead." The ambassador's voice remained calm, as if discussing the weather. "You have 1 Earth week to decide. I will meet with your world leaders in 7 days for your answer." The transmission ended. Noah ordered immediate return to Earth. During the journey back, Dr. Olivia Martinez studied the scans they had taken of the alien ship. "Their biology is fascinating," she told Noah in his private quarters. "They appear to be cold-blooded with several unique features. Their skin contains metals we've never seen before." "Any weaknesses?" asked Noah. Olivia hesitated. "Maybe. Their body chemistry suggests sensitivity to certain radiation bands that wouldn't harm humans, but I need more data." The next 5 days were the most chaotic in human history. When news of the aliens spread, there was panic in some places, disbelief in others. Religious leaders claimed it was the end times. Scientists demanded access to the scan data. Military leaders called for immediate action. Admiral Caldwell organized the largest military conference ever held. Representatives from every armed force on Earth gathered in the underground complex beneath Geneva. "The situation is clear," said the admiral. "We face an enemy with superior technology and numbers. Conventional warfare is suicide." "So we surrender?" asked the Brazilian commander. "No," replied Noah, standing up. "We fight smart. Dr. Martinez has discovered potential weaknesses in Varaxian biology and technology. We need time to develop weapons that exploit these weaknesses." "Time we don't have," reminded the Japanese general. "Then we buy time," said Noah. "We appear to negotiate while preparing for war." On the 7th day, leaders from every nation gathered in New York. The Varaxian ship hovered above the city, casting a shadow over the United Nations building. Ambassador Zarketh materialized in the center of the General Assembly. "The time for decision has come," announced the ambassador. "Will Earth join the Varaxian Empire peacefully, or will you choose extinction?" Admiral Caldwell stepped forward, as Earth's chosen representative. "We have considered your offer carefully, Ambassador. Humanity has a message for the Varaxian Empire." The admiral paused, looking around at the assembled leaders who nodded in rare unity. "Humanity bows to no one. We reject your offer." The ambassador's yellow eyes narrowed. "Then you choose death. No world has ever defied the Empire and survived." Admiral Caldwell smiled thinly. "Then we will be the first." As the ambassador disappeared, alarms sounded throughout the building. The Varaxian fleet had begun moving into attack positions around Earth. The war for humanity's survival had begun. The Empire ordered Earth to submit. Humanity answered with fire. Part 2. The sky burned red over Washington, D.C. Varaxian ships hovered above the city, firing energy beams that cut through buildings like paper. Captain Noah Bennett watched the live feed from the underground command center in Colorado. His hands tightened into fists as another landmark collapsed. "Status report," he demanded. Lieutenant Sofia Rodriguez shook her head. "Not good, sir. We've lost contact with defense forces in 12 major cities. Our missiles can't penetrate. They're shields." Similar attacks were happening around the world. London, Beijing, Moscow, Tokyo, all under fire. The Varaxian Empire had wasted no time after Earth's refusal to surrender. Dr. Eric Patterson rushed into the room, his lab coat stained with coffee. "Captain, I think we have something." "What is it?" asked Noah. "Dr. Martinez's research on Varaxian biology showed they have sensitivity to certain radiation frequencies. I've modified some of our weapons to emit those frequencies." Admiral Caldwell joined them, his face grim. "Will it work?" "In theory," said Eric. "But we need to test it." Sophia suddenly pointed at her screen. "Sir, look at this. I've been analyzing the Varaxian attack patterns. They're predictable. They always follow the same formation no matter what we do." Noah studied the data. "You're right. They're so confident in their technology that they're not adapting their tactics." "That's our opening," said the Admiral. "Patterson, how quickly can you modify our remaining fighter jets?" 24 hours for a dozen aircraft, replied Eric. "Do it, Captain Bennett. I'm giving you command of this operation. Hit them when they least expect it." While Eric's team worked, Samantha Wells, a civilian hacker recruited by the Earth Defense Force, made another breakthrough. She had managed to intercept some of the Varaxian communications. "They're not as advanced in cybersecurity as they are in weapons," she told Noah. "I can't crack everything, but I've identified their command frequencies." "Can you disrupt them?" asked Noah. Samantha smiled. "Better. I can listen in. They're planning to attack our remaining military bases tomorrow, starting with the one in Alaska. This gave them the perfect opportunity." Noah gathered the pilots for the modified fighters. "This is a hit-and-run mission. You get in, test the new weapons, and get out. We need to know if they work before we commit more resources." The next day, as Varaxian ships approached the Alaskan base, Earth's fighters were waiting. Hidden in the mountains, they launched a surprise attack. The new weapons glowed with an eerie blue light as they fired. To everyone's shock, the modified beams passed right through the Varaxian shields. 3 enemy ships crashed into the snow-covered mountains. Commander Kyle Wren, a Varaxian military officer watching from his command ship, couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Impossible. Their weapons are too primitive." He contacted High Command immediately. "The humans have developed something unexpected. Request reinforcements." His superior's voice was cold. "You have sufficient forces to crush these insects, Commander. Do not request additional resources for such a simple task." Kyle Wren gritted his teeth. Being assigned to crush Earth was beneath his skills, but now his reputation was at stake. "As you command." Back at the Colorado base, Noah and his team celebrated their first victory. "It works," shouted Eric, jumping up and down. "The radiation disrupts their shield harmonics." Admiral Caldwell was more cautious. "It's a start, but they'll adapt. We need to mass-produce these weapons and develop new tactics." Over the next few weeks, guerrilla warfare became Earth's strategy. Unable to match the Varaxians in direct combat, human forces used hit-and-run tactics, striking quickly and disappearing before the enemy could respond. The Varaxians, used to quick conquests against less resourceful species, became frustrated. Commander Kyle Wren doubled his attacks on civilian targets, hoping to break human morale. "These humans are unusual," he told his officers. "Most species surrender after we destroy their major cities." His second-in-command replied, "Perhaps we underestimated them?" Kyle Wren snarled, "Nonsense, they are simply too primitive to understand they cannot win. Increase bombardment of their population centers." But the attacks had the opposite effect. Rather than breaking their spirit, it united humanity like never before. Old enemies became allies. Resources were pooled. Underground factories worked, day and night, producing the modified weapons. The USS Defiant, now equipped with the new technology, led a small fleet in daring raids against Varaxian supply ships. During one such mission, They managed to disable and board a smaller enemy vessel. Noah led the boarding party himself. Inside the alien ship, they found technology beyond their understanding, but Dr. Martinez was able to download some of their database before they had to retreat. "This is incredible," she told Noah as they escaped. "Their ships run on something similar to fusion, but far more efficient, and I found more about their biology." "Anything useful?" asked Noah. "Very. Their sensitivity to certain radiation types is even greater than we thought, and there's something else. They need extremely high temperatures to function properly. Earth is actually quite cold for them." This information led to new strategies. Human forces began targeting the heating systems on Varaxian ships, forcing the cold-blooded aliens to retreat or function at reduced capacity. 3 months into the war, Earth was still standing. Cities lay in ruins. Millions had died, but humanity refused to give up. The Varaxian invasion, expected to last days, had stretched into months with no end in sight. Commander Kyle Ren was summoned back to the Empire's main fleet. His superior, High Commander Voxtar, was not pleased. "You promised a quick victory," said Voxtar. "Instead, we face the longest resistance in the Empire's history." Kyle Ren bowed his head. "These humans are different. They adapt quickly and show unusual courage. The Emperor grows impatient. I am taking personal command of this invasion. We will crush them with overwhelming force." Unknown to the Varaxians, Dr. Leah Winters, a quantum physicist working in a hidden facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, had developed something new. Using the data from the captured ship, she had created a weapon that generated the specific radiation harmful to Varaxian technology at much higher levels. "We call it the Sunfire," she explained to Admiral Caldwell and Captain Bennett. "It emits a pulse that should completely disable their ship's systems." Noah looked at the prototype. It was their best hope. "How soon can we test it?" 2 days, replied Leah. "But we only have enough materials for 3 units. Then we make them count," said Noah. As he left the lab, he received word that High Commander Voxtar had arrived with reinforcements. The real test of humanity's resistance was about to begin. The Empire ordered Earth to submit. Humanity answered with fire. Part 3. 6 months into the war, Earth looked different. Cities once filled with millions now stood empty or in ruins. But underground, in mountains, and in hidden bases across the Mia planet, humanity survived and fought back. Major Jason Grant led his team through the ruins of Chicago. They moved silently, their special suits designed to hide from Varaxian scanners. Each soldier carried a Sunfire rifle, the newest weapon Earth had created. "Target ahead," whispered Jason into his comm. "Varaxian patrol, 3 units." The aliens moved with confidence, not expecting resistance in an area they thought was cleared of humans. They were wrong. "Fire on my mark," ordered Jason. 3, 2, 1 mark. The Sunfire rifles made almost no sound. Beams of concentrated radiation hit the aliens. Their armor systems failed instantly. Within seconds, all 3 Varaxians lay dead. "Collect their tech and let's move," said Jason. "We have 10 minutes before their main force investigates." Across the globe, similar small victories were happening. Dr. Leah Winters had succeeded in mass-producing her Sunfire technology. Now all Earth forces had weapons that could hurt the invaders. In the main resistance base beneath Mount McKinley in Alaska, Governor Dean Harper coordinated civilian efforts. Once the governor of Alaska, he now led the Western Resistance Zone. "We have reports from our people in Seattle," he told Captain Noah Bennett. "The Varaxians are building something big there." Noah studied the images smuggled out by resistance fighters. "It looks like a command center. High Commander Voxtar must be planning something." On his flagship above Earth, High Commander Voxtar was indeed planning. His yellow eyes narrowed as he addressed his officers. "This resistance has gone on too long," he said. "The Emperor questions my ability to crush these primitives." Commander Kyle Ren, demoted after his failure, spoke carefully. "High Commander, these humans adapt quickly. Each time we change our shields, they find new ways to penetrate them. Then we will stop being predictable. said Voxtar. Prepare the harvest ships. The Varaxian harvest ships were massive vessels, designed to strip planets of resources. They had never been used on an inhabited world before, but Voxtar was desperate for a victory. 3 days later, Noah was woken by alarms. Admiral Caldwell's face appeared on his screen. His expression, grave. "They're boiling the oceans," said the Admiral. "The harvest ships are extracting hydrogen and oxygen from the water. Sea levels are dropping worldwide." Noah rushed to the command center. On screens, he saw massive Varaxian ships hovering over oceans, drawing up water in huge columns. "If they continue, they'll destroy our ecosystem," said Dr. Olivia Martinez. "We have to stop them." "The harvest ships have tripled the shielding of their warships," said Admiral Caldwell. "Even our Sunfire weapons can't penetrate them." Noah thought for a moment. "Then we need to hit them from the inside. Sophia, is the USS Defiant ready?" Lieutenant Sophia Rodriguez nodded. "Yes, sir. We've equipped it with the prototype Sunfire cannon." "Good," said Noah. "Here's the plan. We'll use the Defiant to get close to a harvest ship. A small team will board it and place Sunfire charges at key points." Major Jason Grant volunteered to lead the boarding team. "My people are trained for this, Captain." The plan was risky, but they had no choice. If the oceans continued to disappear, humanity would die even if they won the war. 2 days later, the USS Defiant approached a harvest ship over the Pacific Ocean. They used a new stealth system developed from captured Varaxian technology. "We're in position," reported Sophia. "No signs they've detected us." Noah gave the order. "Launch the boarding team." Major Grant and his 5 soldiers flew from the Defiant in small, one-person craft. They landed on the harvest ship's hull, near a maintenance hatch Dr. Winters had identified from stolen plans. "We're in," reported Jason over the secure comm. "Moving to target points." Inside the massive ship, the team split up. Each soldier carried Sunfire charges powerful enough to disable the ship's systems. They moved through corridors filled with steam and humming machinery, avoiding Varaxian patrols. On the Defiant, Noah watched their progress through cameras on their suits. "They're doing well," he told Admiral Caldwell over a secure channel. "4 charges placed, 2 to go." Suddenly, alarms blared on the harvest ship. One of Jason's team had been spotted. "Cover blown," reported Jason, his voice calm despite the danger. Proceeding to final targets at double speed. Varaxian soldiers filled the corridors, hunting the humans. Jason's team fought their way through, their Sunfire weapons giving them an advantage in the close quarters. "Last charge placed," reported Jason, starting evacuation, but only 3 of his team made it back to their craft. The others sacrificed themselves to ensure the mission succeeded. "Detonating charges in 3, 2, 1, said Jason as they flew away from the harvest ship. The effect was spectacular. The Sunfire charges released radiation that overloaded the ship's systems. Energy surged through the massive vessel, causing a chain reaction. The harvest ship exploded in a ball of blue-white fire visible from space. "One down," said Noah grimly. "But there are 5 more harvest ships." The Varaxians responded with fury. High Commander Voxtar ordered attacks on all known human settlements. But something had changed. The destruction of a harvest ship, thought Oi. To be invulnerable shook Varaxian confidence. In his command center, Governor Harper received reports from around the world. "It's working," he told Noah over a secure channel. "Our people report the Varaxians are pulling back from smaller cities, concentrating their forces." Dr. Leah Winters had more good news. "We've developed a smaller version of the Sunfire cannon. We can equip most of our remaining aircraft with them." For the first time since the invasion began, hope spread among Earth's defenders. The Varaxians could be hurt. They could be beaten. High Commander Voxtar felt the Emperor's displeasure. "The humans destroy one harvest ship, and you retreat?" The Emperor's voice boomed through the communication channel. "A tactical repositioning." "Emperor," said Voxtar, "to better crush them." "I am sending the Imperial fleet," replied the Emperor. "I will take personal command of this conquest. These humans will learn the true power of the Varaxian Empire." As Voxtar's image faded, The Emperor turned to his advisors. Prepare my dreadnought. It is time to end this irritating resistance. Across the solar system, long-range human scanners detected a massive fleet entering from deep space. The real battle for Earth was about to begin. The Empire ordered Earth to submit. Humanity answered with fire. Part 4. 1 year after the Varaxian Empire arrived at Earth, the war had changed. Humanity was no longer just running and hiding. They were fighting back. The ruins of Sydney served as the backdrop for the meeting between Captain Noah Bennett and General Catherine Miller, the new Supreme Commander of Earth's United Forces. They stood in an underground bunker, looking at a holographic map of the solar system. The Emperor's fleet has reached Jupiter, said General Miller. Her face showed the strain of leadership, but her voice remained strong. Our long-range scanners count over 300 ships, including the Imperial Dreadnought. Noah studied the red dots representing enemy vessels. More than twice what they sent originally. They're taking us seriously now. As they should, replied the general. Engineer Davidson has something to show us. Alan Davidson was a quiet man who had spent the war creating new weapons and ships. He activated a different hologram showing a sleek spacecraft unlike any Earth had built before. This is the Phoenix, said Alan. We built it in secret facilities inside the asteroid belt. It combines Varaxian technology we've captured with our own innovations. Noah walked around the hologram impressed. How many do we have? 12, replied Alan. Each armed with advanced sunfire weapons and shields based on Varaxian designs. General Miller nodded with satisfaction. It's time for Operation Wildfire. We're taking the fight to them. For months, Earth forces had been gathering intelligence and resources. Small victories had given them captured technology. Scientists had worked day and night to understand and adapt alien systems. Now humanity was ready to push back. The plan was complex but built on a simple idea. Humans were more adaptable than Varaxians. The aliens relied on superior technology and overwhelming force. They weren't used to an enemy that kept changing tactics. 3 days later, Noah stood on the bridge of the first Phoenix-class ship, renamed the USS Defiant, after his original vessel that had been destroyed months earlier. Around him, the best crew Earth could provide prepared for battle. All Phoenix ships report ready, Captain, said Lieutenant Sofia Rodriguez. Noah took a deep breath. Begin Operation Wildfire. Across the solar system, Earth forces launched coordinated attacks. From hidden bases on the Moon, Mars, and various asteroids, fighters and the new Phoenix ships emerged. They targeted Varaxian supply lines and communication relays first. In his Imperial Dreadnought, Emperor Zorthal received the reports with disbelief. No species had ever mounted such a response after a year of Imperial attacks. His 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the battle displays. These humans continue to surprise us, he said to his advisors. Their new ships have capabilities similar to our own. High Commander Voxtar bowed low. They have been capturing and studying our technology, Emperor. Each defeat teaches them more. Then we will give them no more lessons, replied the Emperor. Prepare the main fleet for a direct assault on their planet. We will end this now. But the humans had anticipated this move. As the Varaxian main fleet moved toward Earth, they faced a new weapon. Earth scientists had developed what they called the Solar Lance, massive cannons hidden on several moons and asteroids that fired concentrated sunfire energy. The first blasts tore through multiple Varaxian ships, including one of their largest cruisers. The Emperor watched in shock as the cruiser broke apart, its shields useless against the new weapon. Impossible, he shouted. No primitive species should have this capability. Meanwhile, Noah led a special mission. While the main battle raged near Mars, the USS Defiant and 2 other Phoenix ships slipped behind enemy lines. Their target, the Varaxian flagship where High Commander Voxitar coordinated their forces. We're approaching the flagship, reported Sophia. Stealth systems holding. Noah nodded. Launch the boarding team. Major Jason Grant led the elite team again. They had trained for months for this mission. Their goal was not to destroy the flagship but to capture its central computer core, which contained the complete Varaxian battle plans and technical specifications. "We're inside," reported Jason over the secure comm. Moving to the computer core. The team fought their way through the ship, their experience with Varaxian layouts helping them avoid main defense points. 20 minutes later, they reached the computer core. "Beginning data extraction," reported Jason. 5 minutes until complete. On the bridge of the Varaxian flagship, High Commander Voxitar received an alert. "Intruders in the computer core. How did they get aboard?" Before his officers could respond, the ship shook violently. The USS Defiant had dropped its stealth field and opened fire, creating a diversion for the boarding team. "Shields failing on decks 5 through 9, reported a Varaxian officer. "Their weapons are penetrating our defenses," Voxtar snarled, in fury. "Kill the humans in the computer core. Launch all fighters against their ship." But it was too late. Jason's team completed the data extraction and fought their way back to their entry point. As they returned to the Defiant, Noah ordered a full attack on the flagship's propulsion systems. "Fire all Sunfire cannons," he commanded. The flagship's engines exploded in blue fire. As the massive ship drifted helplessly, Noah ordered a retreat. Their mission was accomplished. Back at Earth, the data proved invaluable. Dr. Olivia Martinez and her team worked through the night analyzing it. "We have their complete shield specification," she told General Miller. "And more importantly, we have the location of every Varaxian ship in our solar system." General Miller smiled grimly. "Then it's time for Phase 2 of Operation Wildfire." With their new knowledge, Earth forces launched precise attacks on vulnerable points in the Varaxian fleet. Ships that appeared undamaged suddenly found their systems failing, as humans exploited previously unknown weaknesses. Emperor Zorthal raged as reports of defeats came in from all sectors. Never in the history of the Empire had they faced such resistance. "These humans," he snarled, "they should have broken months ago." His chief scientist spoke carefully. "Emperor, we have analyzed their tactics. They are unlike any species we have encountered. They learn from each defeat, adapting faster than we can counter." The Emperor made a decision. "Prepare my personal guard. I will lead the final assault on their planet myself." As the massive Imperial dreadnought moved toward Earth, Noah and General Miller prepared their own surprise. The Solar Lance weapons had been reconfigured based on the stolen data. Earth's remaining Phoenix ships gathered for one final battle. The fate of humanity would be decided in the skies above the planet that had given them birth. The Empire ordered Earth to submit. Humanity answered with fire. Part 5. The space around Jupiter glowed with explosions as the final battle began. Emperor Zorthal's dreadnought, a ship the size of a small moon, led the remaining Varaxian fleet toward Earth. Facing them were humanity's Phoenix ships and a network of Solar Lance platforms hidden throughout the outer planets. On the USS Defiant, Captain Noah Bennett addressed his crew. "Today we fight not just for our survival, but for our right to exist free from tyranny. The Varaxians came to our home and demanded we kneel. Instead, we showed them humanity's fire." General Catherine Miller coordinated the battle from Lunar Command. "All ships in position. Solar Lance platforms ready. Operation Firestorm is go." The human fleet moved in an unpredictable pattern, using tactics no Varaxian commander could anticipate. They had studied the enemy for a year, learning their weaknesses and habits. Inside his dreadnought, Emperor Zorthal watched the approaching human ships with disdain. "Such small vessels to oppose the might of my empire. Begin the attack. Show no mercy." Varaxian ships fired energy weapons that could destroy cities, but the Phoenix ships, using technology adapted from the enemy, slipped between the blasts. They fired their Sunfire cannons in precisely coordinated strikes. "First wave successful," reported Lieutenant Sofia Rodriguez on the Defiant. "Enemy outer defenses damaged. We have a path to the dreadnought." Noah nodded. "All ships, focus fire on these coordinates. We need to create an opening for the final phase." Dr. Olivia Martinez monitored the battle from the Defiance Science Station. After months studying Varaxian biology and technology, she had discovered their greatest weakness. The Emperor's dreadnought has a unique power core. If we can overload it with the right frequency of sunfire radiation, the entire ship will fail. Problem was getting close enough. The dreadnought's shields were far stronger than any they had faced before. As the battle raged, President Laura Chen spoke to Earth's population from a secure bunker. Citizens of Earth, today we face our greatest test. For a year we have endured invasion and destruction, but we have not broken. We have not surrendered. Today humanity fights back with all our strength and ingenuity. Her words were broadcast to every resistance outpost, every hidden community, and every fighter in the fleet. They had suffered much, but they had also learned much. Noah's plan was dangerous but necessary. USS Defiant will lead a direct assault on the dreadnought. The other Phoenix ships will provide cover fire and distract their fleet. General Miller objected. Captain, that's practically a suicide mission. It's our only chance, Noah replied. We have to get the Prometheus device close enough to work. The Prometheus device was humanity's ultimate weapon, created by Dr. Winters, using everything they had learned about Varaxian technology. It generated a focused burst of energy that mimicked a small star, producing exactly the radiation frequency that disrupted Varaxian systems. As the Defiant raced toward the dreadnought, other Phoenix ships engaged the Varaxian fleet. Solar Lance. Platforms fired from hidden positions among Jupiter's moons, creating chaos in the enemy formation. Emperor Sorthal noticed the Defiant's approach. A single ship dares to attack us directly? Their bravery is matched only by their foolishness. Concentrate all weapons on that vessel. The Defiant shook as enemy fire struck its shields. Shield strength at 60%, reported Sophia. 50%, 40%. Noah remained calm. Stay on course. We need to get within 5,000 kilometers for the device to work. On the dreadnought, Emperor Sorthal sensed victory. The humans fight well, but they will learn that no one defies the Varaxian Empire and lives. But he had underestimated human determination. As the Defiant's shields failed, 3 other Phoenix ships moved into position, taking hits meant for Noah's vessel. We're in range, shouted Sophia. 3,000 kilometers and closing. Noah gave the order. Activate the Prometheus device. Dr. Martinez initiated the sequence. Device powering up, 10 seconds to activation. The Emperor suddenly realized the danger. What is that energy signature? All ships destroy that vessel immediately. It was too late. The Prometheus device activated, creating a miniature star between the Defiant and the dreadnought. The focused burst of energy penetrated the dreadnought's shields as if they weren't there. Direct hit, reported Sophia. Their power core is destabilizing. Systems throughout the dreadnought began to fail. Lights flickered. Weapons went offline. The massive ship drifted helplessly. Noah seized the moment. Open a channel to the Emperor. Emperor. Sorthal's face appeared on screen, his yellow eyes filled with rage and disbelief. What have you done to my ship? The same thing you tried to do to our planet, replied Noah calmly. We've shown you that humanity will not submit. Now here are our terms. Terms? The Emperor hissed. You dare offer terms to the Varaxian Empire? Yes, said Noah. Withdraw your forces from our solar system. Recognize Earth as a sovereign and independent world. Sign a non-aggression pact. Or what? Human? Noah's voice hardened. Or we activate the rest of our Prometheus devices. We've placed them throughout your fleet during the battle. With a single command, we can destroy every Varaxian ship in our system. The Emperor fell silent, calculating his options. Across the battlefield, human ships had gained the upper hand. The once mighty Varaxian fleet was in disarray. You leave me no choice, the Emperor finally said. But know this, human. No species has ever done this to the Empire before. Then let that be the lesson you take home, replied Noah. Earth is not like other worlds you've conquered. Humanity will always answer threats with fire. 2 days later, on the deck of the USS Defiant, President Chen and Captain Bennett watched as Emperor Zorthal signed the Sol Accords. The agreement recognized Earth as a sovereign power and established boundaries for Varaxian ships. "This is only the beginning," said President Chen quietly. "They'll be back someday." Noah nodded. "And we'll be ready. We've learned much from this war. Humanity will never be helpless again." As the Emperor returned to his crippled dreadnought, Earth celebrated its hard-won freedom. In cities and underground bunkers, in mountain hideouts and orbital stations, humans cheered their victory. 6 months later, Noah stood on the observation deck of the new Earth Defense Station. Below him, the planet was healing. Cities were being rebuilt, and in orbit, a new fleet of ships was under construction. The Varaxian Empire had ordered Earth to submit, humanity had answered with fire, and the galaxy would never be the same again.